Banjul, broadcasting for viewers in the Gambia and around the world. This is the news file. Our headlines this hour. Frank exchanges to strengthen partnership. His Excellency President Barrow receives delegations of imams representing the community of Bundung and members of the Balanta Society. Inner city residents hail the construction of new markets and feeder road networks linking communities across the West Coast and Greater Banjul area. Accessing the state of national emergencies and crisis handling, the National Assembly Select Committee on Health and Humanitarian Relief tours disaster hotspots and the COVID-19 treatment center. Well, I am Winifred Nikul and
I am Fatih Ali Komoloshi, also coming up. And a close view of a designated game changer. Newsfile takes a close look at the targeted impact of the resilience of organizations for transformative smallholder agriculture project launched by the president last week. In sports, Rafael Nadal moves close to winning the all-time male Grand Slam singles title and his second Australian Open. Away from home, at least 3 people die after a car bomb exploded in the Somali capital, Mogadishu, near the presidential palace. And the UK Supreme Court gives Nigerian farmers the green light to sow shell over oil spills. That's the top of the news file and much more coming ahead this hour. Many thanks for joining us.
A warm welcome to the news file. Let's start this special bulletin with the President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, who on Saturday separately received in audience high-powered delegations of imams from Bundung and the Balanta community, who called on him to express their support and solidarity with him and his government. The engagement provided a platform for frank exchanges on how to enhance partnership between various communities and the government. Well, that report by Momodu Jallo will come in our 10 p.m. newscast.
And now let's look at the targeted impact of the resilience of organizations for transformative smallholder agriculture project Roots, launched by President Barrow last week, moving to create access to markets for enhanced food security and nutrition. The $80 million project is designed to increase agricultural productivity and transform the sector with a focus on women and youth involved in agriculture. Let's take a listen.
The President, His Excellency Adama Barrow, arrived at the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center for the historic launching of one of the most ambitious agricultural projects this country has ever seen. The resilience of organizations for transformative smallholder project, or Roots, according to Ibrahim Assis, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Agriculture, is seen as a game changer in the Gambia's efforts to revolutionize the agricultural sector.
The success of Roots project to a large extent depends on the existence of a strong government institutions, specifically the Ministry of Agriculture. We are still convinced with strong collaboration and multitasking, the sector could still sail through successfully. And as a team leader, I'm ready to take that route.
The Roots project is jointly funded by government, the International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, the French Development Agency, the OPEC Fund for International Development, and the Global Environment Facility.
Of this $80 million, IFAD, as the lead donor, is providing grant financing of $17.016 million US. That is 21.3% of the project cost, as well as $4.25 million US as a loan. That is only 5.3% of the project cost. Other financing partners for the roots projects are the AFD, Agency France for Development, with a grant of 11.2 million US dollars, that is 14% of the total project cost. OPEC Fund for International Development with a 10 million US dollar loan equivalent to 12.5% of the project cost, and the Global Environment Facility JEP with a 5.3 million US dollars grant, that is 6.6% of the project cost.
According to officials, the project has three main components: targeting rice and vegetable production in 5 regions across the country. This intervention, according to the representative of the UNDP resident coordinator and the IFAD country representative, will significantly reduce poverty and unemployment, especially among women and the youth.
The creation of the Roots project is a clear recognition that policies for effective consolidation of the achievement of the NEMA and previous IFAD projects need strong institutions to ensure their implementation, and that.
All right, we go back to our earlier mentioned excerpt there on the targeted impact of the resilience of organizations for transformative smallholder agriculture project Roots, launched by President Barrow last week.
Project Director of Roots, Mr. Jain there, Molushi?
Yes, in fact, Mr. Jain is the project director at the Ministry of Agriculture, who is here to tell us more about the targeted impact of the Roots project set to be implemented in 39 districts in the Gambia. Mr. Momar Aliu Jain, welcome to the Newsfile.
Thank you.
Now, thanks for joining us. Talk to us about the projected goal of the Roots project, and what will it, or how will it transform Gambian agriculture?
Thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me. This project, as you have rightly said, is set to transform the macroeconomic landscape of the country. We are aiming high. We're aiming at almost achieving self-sufficiency in rice production in the country, but also making a big dent in the imports of horticultural products in the country. Therefore, as you have indicated, 39 districts are being targeted all across the country. A total of 40,000 households, and if you take the average household size of 8, we are talking about 320,000 people. 80% of the target is women, 25% is youth. And as you said, it's $80 million, multi-donor funded over a period of 6 years.
Interesting. So, I mean, the program sets out a focus, like you mentioned, on women and youth, two disempowered demographics largely involved in farming. How does the Roots scheme intend to engage them?
Yes. If you notice, the two main target commodities are rice and vegetables. And these are domains of women farmers predominantly. So it is a deliberate policy of targeting areas where women hold sway. But we are also wanting to encourage youth to delve more into the agricultural sector by empowering them.
Now, Mr. Jai, how can the targeted district participate and make the most from this project?
Absolutely. The project has a two-pronged approach. One is to improve productivity. Therefore, not only the yields, but also area cultivated. But we're also going up the value chain. Not just productivity, but also access to markets. So the first component is productivity. The second is access to markets. So we follow the value chain from production all the way to the supermarkets, to the hotels, to the restaurants, and to the households.
Interesting. Now, Mr. Jan, we all know that food security is a major contention required to revitalize growth and boost economic and productivity. But the slow embrace of mechanization, agro research, subsidies, and access to markets continue to minimize the growth. But what solution will the Roots project provide?
Yes. Actually, as you rightly pointed out, efforts to improve productivity and access to markets is not new. Therefore, the Roots project is building on the lessons learned from previous projects, most immediately the NEMA project funded by IFAD, but also previous projects. So there are lessons that are learned that have been incorporated into the design of the project, but not just locally. Recall the main funder of this project is IFAD, and IFAD has a global reach. So we are going to borrow lessons using South-South cooperation, where you have successful stories we try to replicate and adapt here in the Gambia.
Very well. What can we look forward to? What do we look out for now?
Well, we can look forward to maybe Miss Elika Mulushi leaving broadcasting and joining the
That's huge.
farming sector because it's so lucrative for the women.
Right.
Maybe you can look forward to that in a few years' time.
Wow.
As a woman and as a youth.
That would be powerful. But yes, Mr. Jain, many thanks for talking to us, and we definitely look forward to what comes out of this project.
Thank you very much.
Winnie?
Now, let's shift attention to national emergencies because the National Assembly Select Committee on Health and Humanitarian Relief continues its tour to various disaster hotspots in the country with visits to the capital city, Banjul, and COVID-19 testing center at the Independence Stadium in Bakau. The two-leg exercise seeks to examine measures in place to mitigate disasters in the country and access challenges confronting the country's response to the global pandemic. Fatimata Cham has more on that.
The capital city, Banjul, is severely vulnerable to disasters. This is exacerbated by inappropriate and inadequately maintained infrastructures, poor waste management, and people settling on waterways. The 7 interlinked canals constructed across Banjul do not seem to be doing much, as they are mostly blocked by heaps of waste, disrupting the flow of water.
As a matter of fact, I think the machine we need a better machine, and we also need a treatment plan for the sewage system to be able to solve Banjul's problems. Honorable celebrated the fact that Banjul mosquitoes do not cause malaria. In as much as we celebrate that, their mere presence is a nuisance. So I think a treatment plan is definitely necessary if we really want to curb the incidences of malaria, the incidences of other hazards, not only malaria, cholera. One cholera outbreak for Gambia is a disaster.
The government of the Gambia has said it is resolved to addressing the drainage challenges of the city, which suffers frequent flooding events. This visit by the National Assembly Select Committee on Health and Humanitarian Relief is one of many by stakeholders as measures are being devised to make the city less disaster prone.
Yes, we are pushing them to do something, and then councils have a role to play because you can see the lack of regular collection of waste is a challenge. People have transformed these places into a dump site, so that's a real challenge. The councils are also not doing what they're supposed to do in terms of regular waste collection. That also contributes to the blockage because you see the waste ends up in the drains.
Touring the disaster hotspots in the city, it is evident that serious work needs to be done.
Priority for this place is to excavate it and then drag it further so that it can have the capacity to retain the water. That way also the other priority is immediately is to remove this rubbish and expand the canal also. Then the long-term and mid and long-term solution to the problem is stone pitching it on this side, if where possible, covered with slabs.
The National Disaster Management Agency is mandated to manage as well as mitigate the impacts of disasters in the country. Its executive director tells me his office remains resolute to averting all forms of disasters in the country.
Any aspect of disaster, the government is the principal duty bearer. Other stakeholders, other agencies may come and supplement and complement government's effort, but governments should take the center stage, and thank God that the government is recognizing that they are the duty bearer when it comes to disaster management in this country and humanitarian response. COVID-19 is an eye-opener. I think it has posed serious clinical and humanitarian challenges in this country, and government is taking its rightful position in terms of responding to the clinical aspect as well as providing food assistance to the victim. I think that's highly commendable.
From Banjul, the committee proceeded to the Independence Stadium in Bakau to monitor events and hear the challenges confronting the COVID-19 testing center. Here, throngs of people, mostly intending travelers, lined up to get tested.
It's not very conducive for sample collection usually because it is very hot. And especially when people are crowded here, as you can see, there's no social distancing. The place is very overcrowded and there's no chairs. There are no chairs, no tables.
Disasters including the coronavirus pandemic have already upended the lives of millions of people around the world. However, officials say confronting this trend and reversing it takes time. Notwithstanding, developments, they say, must be guided by a disaster prevention culture. For Grts News, I am Fatoumata Cham.
Now to the First Lady, Fatoumata Bahbaro, who on Saturday inaugurated a multi-million-dollar fish factory project in Tangier. The major initiative undertaken by the Yorobase Group aims to contribute to the development of the Gambia's fisheries sector through increased productivity to supply both the local and international markets. Majan Baro reports.
The inauguration of this multi-million-dollar fish factory, which was presided over by the First Lady Fatoumata Bahbaro, brought together dignitaries from the Gambia and Senegal, including the Senegalese ambassador to the Gambia, Basir Hussein. Addressing some of the challenges faced by the country's fisheries sector, the First Lady, Madam Fatoumata Bahbaro, described the fish factory as means of complementing government's efforts in empowering local women and youths, promote food and nutrition security, as well as increase access to international markets and trade.
There is an increased national concern for these realities and challenges women and youth face, especially in fisheries and agriculture sector. Although government of the Gambia continue to work with various partners to address some of these challenges, you will all agree with me that the private sector and foreign investors are also center agents of change and development within these sectors. Projects like this fish factory would therefore naturally empower women and youth by creating employment opportunities and market access that would help them earn higher income and create a safety net for poverty alleviation.
The Senegalese ambassador to the Gambia, Basir Hussein, noted that Tangier is the fishing capital of the Gambia. He thanked the CEO of Yorobase Group for bringing such a development to the doorstep of the community of Tangier.
Thanks and gratitude to the government and people of the Republic of the Gambia for warm hospitality and peaceful space extended to the Senegalese community in your beautiful and historical country of the Gambia. The peaceful environment, the rule of law we are witnessing in the country, democratic and good governance, the clean functioning of institutions.
The Deputy Director of Fisheries, Mamadou Sidibe, outlined the importance of the project, which seeks to develop small-scale businesses to large-scale fishery production.
Vessel monitoring equipment and software has been acquired through the sectoral support program funds under the EU-Gambia Sustainable Fisheries Partnership Program at the cost of 117,000 euros. Equipment has already been installed At the newly established Fisheries Monitoring Center, the installation of beacons on board fishing vessels is ongoing.
The CEO of Yorubas Group, Malik Bass, hailed the government of the Gambia and people of Tangier village for such an important project. According to Mr. Bass, the multi-million-dollar fish project will go a long way in empowering Gambians, adding that 70% of the fish produced will be sold in the country.
I started to do business from 2005. And this fishing we start to do it last year to build it. It's private investment. It's me invest it. So I just do it and we do it. And for me, the most people I work in it is the 65% customer I have that women. So women and kids. So it's more with them I working. So for me, and they asking me also, all my customers asking me to see First Lady opening this fish factory because it's for them. This fish factory, we do it, so many of them have fish and don't have where to leave it, to bring it to Serekunda or Basel to go to sell it. So mostly they have problem where to keep their fish.
Special awards of appreciation were handed to individuals, including the First Lady and the Senegalese ambassador to the Gambia. The Yorubas Group, which was established in 2005, operates in the Gambia and Senegal, and officials say the project is also expected to start operations in Guinea-Bissau soon. Majan Baro for Grts News.
A dream comes true for inner city residents in Latrikunda Sabji and Sukuta Nema as they witness new construction works building feeder roads in the area, coming after years of living with poor road networks that have the area flood-prone. Urban residents hailed the project as a well-timed initiative that will ease their daily labors in plying the expansive inner city precinct. On Sunday, GRTS's Fatu Ilika Moloshi journeyed down there to witness firsthand what the ongoing roads project means for the people.
This road stretches from Latrikunda Sabiji all the way to Sukuta Nema. It has been a long journey for residents here who have for many years yearned for a motorable road that will ease their daily travels and drudgery. Every day, residents here walk across this long and difficult terrain during rain, hail, and floods to access markets and other services, braving one of the worst roads in the West Coast. It used to be very difficult for those of us working. The road was not motorable during the rainy season, and the women going to the markets suffered with their goods because they walked long distances. This ongoing construction at the heart of a massive wetland is a targeted game changer, and besides a good road network, residents say they are also looking forward to a good drainage system that will solve their biggest nightmare, flash floods aggravated by poor road networks. We are very happy, but we need a drainage system so that once it rains, the water can pass smoothly. The infrastructure benefits 4 different communities from Nema Wasulung, Nema Jola Kunda, Latrikunda Sabiji, and Sukuta Nema. The women living in this community seem to be the happiest. We are very happy now because you can easily board a vehicle and go run your daily needs without much hassle. Infrastructural programs here include a major market in Latrikunda and a school, but a road network linking communities is a great headway, which means students will not have to trek long distances anymore with vehicles plying the road when completed.
It is so beautiful and I'm happy about it.
As we head to the other parts of this site ongoing construction, a test drive eventually became necessary. So we're on this same road, and as you can see, this particular place links to the other side of Sukuta, which is still under construction. And in fact, this one is still under construction too. What we want to do is have a test run and see whether this road is really smooth as it is. And from the feeling, I can tell that it is really smooth. It's still under construction. We can see that the place is still motorable. When we visited this site on Sunday, walkers were taking a rest, but the feeling of change is glaring, with kids skating on the smooth pathways in contentment and ease. For the youth population here in Nemawasulung looking for livelihood opportunities, these programs signpost greater optimism in the future.
Because
we are happy, but there is more. We need them to give the youth of the community an opportunity to participate in the construction process, because this is where some folks get a living.
However, who does not feel proud of a community with a tarred road? Residents in this community are clearly elated and impatient to see its completion, to put their fears of the promise unfulfilled by other administrations to rest. Reporting for Grts News, I am Fatu Elika Moloshi.
Well, our Fatu Elika Moloshi there, flying the route of Latikunda Sabji to Sukutan.
And we actually did the test drive, I was curious to see how it felt like. But it was okay, it was smooth.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, now let's go straight to Mr. Bakari Mane, Senior Engineer at the National Roads Authority, who now joins us live in the studio. Good evening, Mr. Mane. Good to have you on the program.
Good evening, ladies. Good to be here again.
Good.
Thank you.
Now, give us an update on the state of the ongoing roads under construction across the country.
Okay, thank you once again. At National Roads Authority, we actually, across the country, we know, or like you said, we not only present in the Combo area here. Okay. We all the way stretch to Basse Fatoto, the other side, the northern side, to we are presently working. Currently, the roads that are under the construction, our famous Chinese project, that is Basse Fatoto, which is a 51-kilometer stretch, is under construction, and with the 4 bridges. It has 4 bridges as well, 2 big bridges and these 2 small bridges. That one is under construction, and we have also at the northern part too, we have the Lamenkoto extension. We have, after the Lamenkoto Passamhouse Road, we also have an extension that we call the Lamenkoto extension. That is Kalin. You can remember sometime end of last year, His Excellency Mr. Barrow inaugurated one of our road there, which is a Kalin, Bustown Road. This one under construction is Yorobawol to Basse. So that one is also under construction. Then we come to Hakalan, that is the Nyomi Hakalan. It's also under construction, works as Chikot, plus the Njien one. Works have started. Those are the ones that are up country, and here in Combo here we also have few routes. These ones, these are 2019 to 2020 road maintenance program. We call it at National Roads Authority. This is our maintenance program, but due to COVID, most of them could not be finished. One is the Bakau internal roads. We have Bakau internal roads, and we have Brusubi Phase 2, and we also have the Julbro is yet to be commenced. That's the Julbro from where you call Iceman Johnson to Julbro
it's
route.
Necessary.
It's necessary coming to GRTS.
Yes, because I experienced that. I have to in fact dodge that place now because it's horrible the way it is.
what happened because, like I said, because of the COVID, last year when COVID came, most of our roads and the works we stopped completely because of the COVID. So that really affected the works. But now they are on high gear. These are works that are currently going on the National Roads Authority program.
Now, Mr. Mane, how long are these projects expected to last, and how many kilometers will they respectively cover?
Oh, well, like I said, the Fatoto one, that is 51 kilometers from Basse to Fatoto, and it's an asphaltic concrete, what you call Godorong. Asphaltic concrete, and it's coming with a proper drainage system, especially in towns, and it will have a full road furniture. We mean signboards and mileages and towns, or names of the towns of the villages along the road. That will have, and is 80% is over 80% completion, and the expected date of completion is this year, August. And both the 4 bridges, and the one is 250 meters long, the other one is 170, and the 2 are 39. That is Yoruba, that is Sutuol and Yoruba. They are all finished. The bridges are all finished. So basically, it's over 80%. That is the Basse, and the this one at Yoruba Basse. Asphaltic work has finished now. Sorry, the Basse one, we started the priming. We started priming by putting what you call new alcohol, before the asphalt.
Before you put that on.
So Ndohi got around. We started that one. That is the priming, and hence that is finished. Then we'll start the asphalt itself.
All right. So this one at the Latakunda Sabiji, linking all the way to Sukutanema, take us through the specifics, because this visit was done on a Sunday and there were no workers on site. So a little more of that would be necessary. Well,
specifically this project and this road that you're talking about, that is the Latakunda Sukuta road, that is the bypass. It was earmarked for the OIC project. It was part of the 20 new roads to be constructed under the OIC project. And nonetheless, before the OIC road project starts, GAMWorks are the ones working on this road. They're the ones doing the road, this project, and they commenced it at Latikunda and end at Sukuta. GAMWorks. But not the full length, and they stop it at where the garage is. With the OIC, it will go and connect, because it had the same road has to connect up to where you call Sukuta Camping and Bijilo, Batin Harin Highway. That is the connection. But for them, they stop in at the graveyard where the vehicle are stopping. But nonetheless, when the OIC still comes, we will expand it, and we will put an overlay asphalt, and it will have a proper drainage system where it will end, then we will take it there with the National Roads Authority.
Interesting. Now, to wrap it up, tell us how these roads that are currently being constructed under the OIC project help improve and help to decongest traffic, especially in the metropolis.
Yes, all hopes are up that one way or this project, the OIC project is here. When it's finished, then they will know that will minimize, if not eradicate all, but we call it unnecessary traffic jam built up unnecessarily, because it's coming with additional 20 new roads different from the Battle Harden. So if we have the more optional routes we have, apart from the highway, the lesser traffic jam will be experiencing, and more of the intersection when the design is up. We right now where the consultant has finalized the design, and we will be going for the approval for the design. When that one is done, then the OIC will check up. But basically, like what you said is important. We're doing all this to make sure this traffic nightmare we have in this country, especially in Combo here. It's a nightmare coming here, driving, coming here. Even at night time, everywhere you go is coming with these 20 new roads, this will drastically bring down the traffic congestion or unnecessary traffic congestion in this country.
Well, we hope so, Mr. Mane. It was great talking to you once again, and many thanks for passing by.
Same here. Thank you so much.
Well, that was Bakari Mane, senior roads engineer, talking to us about the state of ongoing works on the country's road infrastructure ahead of the 2022 OIC Summit. Now let's stay with road building programs, taking us straight to the Upper River region, where the Barrow-led government is taking major infrastructural developments with focus on roads and bridges linking communities in the expansive province. Most of these projects are edging towards climax as contractors work to meet several deadlines. Our regional team in the URR went to gauge reactions of people in the construction of roads, particularly the highway connecting Yorobawal and Kerawan Badala and the bridge linking Wuli and Basse. Here's more.
Infrastructure development is key in any country's social economic growth and for poverty alleviation. Hence the massive infrastructure development projects in the Upper River region by the Barrow-led government with particular focus on bridge and road construction. Well, Grts camera crew in the region visited some of the project sites, assessed the level of progress of work. Here we are on the top of the bridge that's linking Basse and Wuli. It's a bridge that has been talked about for the past 52 years, but it never been materialized. By the Barrow-led government, they successfully achieved the construction of this bridge, and we gauge the reaction of the people of Upper River region, and this they has to say towards the construction of this bridge. Since we are not born, crossing at the river side is always a problem, especially an ambulance. Sometimes during the rain season, the river will be overflowed and the ferry will stop operation. And in that period, if an ambulance came carrying a sick person or pregnant woman in labor, the nurses have to cover the woman with wrappers, while sometimes blood will be coming out. And the people will be at the riverside seeing that. It used to be very difficult, but with the intervention of President Adama Barrow, today an ambulance can pick a sick person at your house in Wuli and direct to the hospital at Basse without any delay because of the bridge and the road. We thank President Adama Barrow and his government.
We are very happy about the road and the bridges because before, if our people come from Kombo for an event such as Tobaski and they find that the ferry isn't working, they have to use the back way. But now with the bridge, they will just cross easily and the road is an achievement for the whole area. We thank the President and the government for this development.
Now that the projects are nearing completion, communities in the areas are calling on the people to support President Adama Barrow in fulfilling his development aspiration for the country. This government has brought a great development for us in this area, particularly this road and the bridge. Now you can leave this place right now and go to Basse and come back, prepare your lunch without any delay. And also it makes movement easy between the people. The construction of this road is a blessing and a great development for us in Wuli because we are now connected with Basse. You can use your motorbike to go to Basse and get your food ingredients without any delay and come back, cook your lunch. It is all because of the goodness of the road. For that being the case, we thank President Adama Barrow and his government for this development. Residents in the area thank the government for constructing this important road, which has been a nightmare for habitats for the past 52 years. For far too long, the people of Upper River region, particularly Wuli, has been crying
for the construction of this road linking Yerabawal and Kerawan Badala. As it can be seen clearly, the Barrow-led government has put priority on the construction of this road. Now, the construction team are on the final stage. Well, we went out to gauge the opinion of the people, how important this road is to the people of Upper River region, particularly the people of Wuli.
The construction of this road and the bridge is a massive development for us because as a woman, now you can go to Basse Market and get your food gradients and come back, cook your lunch without any waste of time. And all this is possible because of the goodness of the road, but before it was difficult during the rainy season.
We never have this kind of government because they treat everyone equal in terms of development. In fact, us in this area, we are grateful, particularly about three things: the bridge and the college and the roads. This is because before, our children used to go to college schooling. Get a guardian used to be a big problem. But now, your children can go to college here in Basse. And for this road, its importance cannot be ever emphasized. They also remind authorities of precautionary measures such as speed humps and other road traffic safety signs and symbols to avoid accidents. Sedu Kamara, reporting for Grts Newsfile from Basse Upper River region.
Officials of the Gambia Red Cross Society, led by the Secretary General, on Friday officially received 2 horticultural gardens in the West Coast region from the contractor after partial completion of the contract agreement. The initiative is aimed at boosting women's capacity in horticultural gardening. Fatou Diba attended the ceremony and files in this report.
The Gambia Red Cross Society, through the Japanese Red Cross and the International Federation of Red Cross, have provided borehole and other facilities meant for women gardeners of Kanilai and Kondoko in West Coast region. The gesture is aimed at boosting horticultural production in beneficiary communities. The contractors, Swigam, formally handed over the work to the Gambia Red Cross Society, where the women expressed delight over the project, adding that it will assist in complementing their efforts to boost productivity. The Director of Programs at the GRCS, Abdullah Fay, noted that the provision of adequate water supply has been a challenge for women gardeners, hence the introduction of this project.
This garden was full of grasses, simply because they were not cultivating it, due to the fact that the system that is available here to pump water is electricity from NAWEC. And for them to sustain that, they have to buy cash power of almost 10,000, in every month or in every 2 months. And this is not sustainable. What they did here was to provide 10 panels of solar and then 4 tanks, each 5,000 liters, which is 20,000 liters for water, and then the pumping machine.
Horticulture is rapidly emerging as one of the key growth areas of the Gambian economy. However, horticultural farmers suffer a high rate of loss due to factors like inadequate water supply and storage facilities. The women gardeners in Kanilai said the introduction of the water service will help greatly in their horticultural production, but further appeal for more assistance. We are appealing for an expansion of the garden and also provision of a storage facility so we can store our products after harvesting. Storage is one of the challenges we are confronted with. In the community of Kandonku, the women group echoed similar sentiments. They expressed satisfaction over the work done by the contractor and his team. The Secretary General of the Red Cross Society also assured local communities of his organization's continued support, especially in the empowerment of women and youths.
We should endeavor to render support to women gardeners. I encourage the youth to assist their mothers and sisters working in the garden, because whatever is harvested comes back to the family.
According to officials of the Gambia Red Cross Society, the humanitarian organization will endeavor to work with women in a bid to improve lives and livelihoods of local communities. Fatou Diba for Grts News.
And now the National Social Protection Secretariat recently concluded a consultative meeting with local government authorities in the Central River region to detect gaps and collate findings on the data collected by the Gambia Bureau of Statistics to build the National Social Protection Program. Our regional correspondent Modela Minsane has more.
This undertaking by officials of the National Social Protection Secretariat is meant to consult communities on the data collection done by GBOS, particularly on the Social Safety Net project. Here in the Central River region, the Secretariat gathered alcaldes, chiefs, village development committees and councillors to discuss gaps and areas left out since the commencement of the project.
Look at the data collection that has been done by GBOS so that we can have total coverage as far as the region is concerned, and also to make sure that the data is completed in terms of the information that we are seeking. So this is an initiative that is launched to hear complaints and address them.
This follow-up process avails the opportunity for community heads to put forward challenges they face in social protection.
And also to come up with, to design a manual that will also be the grievance redress mechanism for the national level that will be responsible for all social programs and will be coordinated by the National Social Protection Secretariat as well.
The interface, which lasted for 2 days, was also an opportunity to sensitize local authorities on their roles and responsibilities in social protection.
Since they work directly with the communities, if we give them any information, we expect, even imams are here, the information that will be given to them, we expect them to disseminate it, like even in their kutbas, they can talk to people, sensitize them that if there are any issues they encounter during the data collection activity with the GBOS, they can always come forward to express their grievances, and it will be listened to, it will be processed, and a redress mechanism, a redress will be done.
At the end of the community forum, officials from the Social Protection Secretariat are expected to report their findings and make recommendations to GBOS for a second phase of social registration. Modulamin Sane, reporting for Grts News from the Central River region.
Live from Banjul, this is Newsfile. Still up on the program, 3 people have died and 10 others injured after a car bomb exploded in the Somali capital Mogadishu near the presidential palace, and holding oil and energy giants accountable for ecological damage. The UK Supreme Court gives Nigerian farmers the green light to sue Shell over oil spills. Plus 5 wins to Rafael Nadal moves closer to winning the most Grand Slam singles title and his second Australian Open as he sets up a tie with Italy's Fabio Fognini. Don't go away.
Welcome back. Now a quick look at some sports now, taking us to the Australian Open, where Rafael Nadal is inching closer to a history-making win and his Aussie Open. A victory over Italy's Fabio Fognini in the semi-finals of the Australian Open on Monday could seal the deal for the Spaniard, who is moving to win his second Australian Open, whilst on course to breaking the all-time male record.
Well, live from Banjul, this is Newsfile. A quick look at our top stories before we go. Frank X changes to strengthen partnership. His Excellency President Barrow receives delegations of imams representing various communities across the country and members of the Balanta Society. Inner city residents have hailed the construction of new markets and feeder road networks linking communities across the West Coast and Greater Banjul area. Assessing the state of national emergencies and crisis handling, the National Assembly's Select Committee on Health and Humanitarian Relief is touring disaster hotspots and the COVID-19 treatment centers.
And a close view of a designated game changer, Newsfile took a close look at the targeted impact of the resilience of organizations for transformative smallholder agriculture project launched by the president last week. In sports, Rafael Nadal has moved closer to winning the most Grand Slam single titles and his second Australian Open. Away from home, at least 3 people have died after a car bomb exploded in the Somali capital Mogadishu near the presidential palace. And the UK Supreme Court has given Nigerian farmers in the Delta region the green light to sue Shell over oil spills. That's all in this edition of the Newsfile. Many thanks for the pleasure of your company. I was Fatu Elika Mulushi.
And I was Winifred Nicole. Do join me again at 2200 hours for more news. Until then, do stay tuned and enjoy the rest of our programs.